Today on Newsbeat, Clippers owner Donald Sterling is banned from the NBA for life.
Also, the weather around the southeast region has been hazardous lately, perhaps even a tornado warning in effect for the Baton Rouge area.
All this and more in Newsbeat starts right now.
Good evening, Tigers, and welcome to Newsbeat. I'm Bess Casterly.
And I'm Michael Edmondson. Thanks for joining us. The owner of the Los Angeles Clippers is in hot water tonight due to racially charged comments that were leaked to TMZ on Saturday. Donald Sterling is banned for life from the NBA for spewing racial remarks that were caught on tape and investigated by the NBA. Sterling is not allowed to go to any games or practices, and he cannot even participate in any of the league's governing activities. Plus, he's got other consequences. Sterling is fined $2.5 million, which is the maximum amount allowed under the NBA Constitution. The NBA Commissioner Adam Silver spoke about how those funds will be put to use.
These funds will be donated to organizations dedicated to anti-discrimination and tolerance efforts that will be jointly selected by the NBA and its Players Association.
No word has been given on how Sterling responded to his punishment.
In other news, a storm surge has killed more than 20 people and injured many more, but experts suggest the bad weather isn't gone yet. CNN reports that 29 people across 6 states have died after lightning storms, hail, and tornadoes ripped through the southeast. More than 50 tornadoes were reported in just 24 hours. Thunderstorms raged in Alabama, Georgia, and the Florida Panhandle Tuesday morning, with tornadoes touching down along the Alabama-Georgia line. Mississippi's emergency management system stated that 16 counties reported tornado damage. Storm threats are expected to rise again in Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi Wednesday.
Such a very tragic event. I
Really
know I saw
is.
on social media that Alabama had posted that one of their athletes had actually died in the storm. So definitely keeping all of them in our prayers. So hopefully this weather doesn't move into Louisiana.
Yeah, well, let's see if that's going to happen. We'll turn it over to Chelsea LeBlanc, our guest Tiger TV station manager, to see what's happening.
Good evening, Tigers, and welcome to your daily weather report. Today was hot and humid as expected, being in Louisiana at the end of April. A tornado watch is in effect in Louisiana until 9 p.m. tonight. Right now it's about 85 degrees, but it feels like 91, and we have a 68% humidity. Later tonight, it'll be cloudy with some isolated thunderstorms, and the temperatures are supposed to drop to the mid to upper 70s, but with humidity levels over 85%, it won't feel much cooler.
Thanks, Chelsea. Finals start next week, which usually means it'll be very stressful for students, but there are always ways to make sure you don't wear yourself out.
With finals week approaching, many students are already beginning to feel overwhelmed and stressed out. Most have their own way of dealing with the excessive amount of work to be done leading up to the finals week. Sophomore Timothy Jackson feels the best way to deal with all of the work is to do something fun in order to take your mind off of school.
I mean, you got to make sure you have a balance. You can't always think about just school. Make sure you do something fun, too, to get your mind off of school. Because if you think about it too much, you're not going to be able to concentrate.
For students like Jackson, doing something to get your mind off of the work at hand helps, but many need to just relax and take a break in order to get back into the swing of things. Throughout the past few weeks, many students have been relaxing and lounging in the quad or the parade grounds, which is a way to certainly detach yourself from the stress of school. Student Neil Sicard finds that the best way to take a break is to just take a walk and focus.
I think the key is you don't think about what you could do, you got to think about what you can do. Try to walk somewhere random. There's always a bench somewhere where you can sit down and kind of peace out for a second and give your brain a break.
For most students, the best way to deal with finals is to just take it one day at a time. Senior Bria Turner, whose last finals week is next week, feels that even though finals are overwhelming, the best way to get through the week stress-free is to plan ahead.
Finals are finals, so no matter how hard you work during the semester, they're still going to be overwhelming because it's like a test every day during the week. But I think the best thing to do is take one task at a time. So just make a to-do list, write it out, and just take it one test at a time. Don't look at it as one big week, because it's going to overwhelm you and stress you out, and you're just going to not do anything.
For Tiger TV, I'm Jasmine Foxworth.
Research shows that taking a 10 to 15-minute break for every hour of studying that you do, and that's not fake studying, real studying, is the most effective when it comes to retaining information.
And as always with finals, students are usually in need of a place to study during the week other than the library or their room. There are places around campus that can help with the stress of studying. Students around campus named some of their favorite places to study for finals week. The students suggested different areas on campus such as the parade grounds, the quad, cafes, and the Indian mounds for a less stressful atmosphere. One LSU student explained how studying in an open space can be a peaceful experience.
You commune with nature, you get to actually get that LSU experience. You're dealing with your classmates, you're around all this.
While studying tends to help when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Coming up after the break, a flash mob occurred in the quad Monday. We'll tell you about how awesome it was.
Stay with us. Well, on Monday, a student organization dance marathon held a flash mob in the quad around noon. The students performed their morale dance, which was performed every hour on the hour at the big event held this past February. The purpose of this flash mob was to announce the date for the next year's big event, which is February the 27th through the 28th of next year. Dance Marathon had their inaugural event in February and broke the national first-year record. The money raised goes straight to Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital in order to provide life-saving equipment to care and patients. Students can begin to register for next year's event in the fall. And in case you missed it, I was actually out there in the flash mob, and it was pretty awesome. Moving on, one local doesn't mind taking extra time until his work is just right. Tiger TV's Sam Clement shows us the hidden treasures in the Cowboys workshop.
Ethan Lee shares a unique love for leather.
There's no limit to how long it can last. And that's just the beauty of leather.
Lee crafts everything one of a kind, from leather tool belts from scratch to repairing saddles.
It's very common for me to get a saddle in here and they say, hey, this is my great-grandpa's. We want it cleaned up and reconditioned so we can just sit it in our house as a family heirloom. You know, but that saddle's probably 100 years old.
What started out as a summer job at 14 turned into a lifestyle for Lee. After 25 years, he still finds joy in his work.
It's a challenge, it's fun. You know, I look at it more of an art form than fixing a saddle.
Lee takes pride in every job he completes. So if a project isn't coming together right, he won't hesitate to retry.
I laugh at myself sometimes at that because I have literally been just steps away from finishing a job and get mad and just throw the whole thing in the trash and start completely over.
Lee doesn't consider himself perfect, but admits he's come a long way.
When I started out, there was a lot of tools that I wasn't allowed to touch. And I remember when I finally did, I made a mess of several pieces. I couldn't stitch a straight line, for instance. You know, it kind of looked more like a snake trail.
But Lee says his mother motivated him to keep moving forward, toward perfection.
I think my mom was my biggest critic. You know, if I made a crooked line or made a mistake, you know, she was the first to point it out. And of course, that hurts your feelings, but it'll make you better.
Lee couldn't imagine himself doing anything else than making something out of nothing.
Get another job done.
For Tiger TV, I'm Sam Clement.
But that's that.
Lee says the oldest saddle he ever worked on dates back to the turn of the century. Coming up after the break, Chelsea LeBlanc will tell us what she saw on the weather forecast, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It may be dead week, but I know I'm hoping for the rest of the weather this week to stay alive.
Absolutely, Michael. Now let's turn to Chelsea LeBlanc to see what we can expect for the rest of the week.
After today, any chance of rain for the rest of the week will pretty much disappear. Wednesday, there's a 0% chance of rain with a high of 77 and a low of 54. The humidity will drop a little bit. For the rest of the week, it'll also be a 0% chance of rain, but on Friday, it'll jump to 20% chance of rain. Highs will be in the high 70s all week, and clouds will be persistent. But expect our weekend to look pretty awesome. Highs for Saturday and Sunday will be in the mid-80s, and clouds will go away, letting the sunshine in. That's all I have for y'all today. Back to y'all at the desk.
The Student Health Center has put on an event the past 2 days called GoPass. The event was designed to give students tips and encouragement before finals. GoPass included 20-minute study tip sessions on Monday and free activities and snacks on the parade grounds. If you miss out on these events, student government is very unhappy with you, but they will provide snacks and testing supplies in Middleton from 5 to 7 every day during finals week. Well, unfortunately, that's our show, but before we go, we'd like to remind you that there's the pancake dinner tonight for all of you getting ready for your finals, so make sure you go and sugar up and get that adrenaline rush so you can study really well.
And remember, you can catch our full shows online at tigertv.tv or on our YouTube channel and our And you can check our Facebook and Twitter for the latest as usual.
Don't worry, we'll be back next fall as always to give you the news and to just, be awesome. Because we really do an awesome job, we think. So thanks again to all of our viewers. I'm looking at you, Grandy and Papa, and thank you for joining us and have a great evening.